Sorry, guys.
I thought you were just giving those of us a break from the last one. I'm like, okay.
No. I was like, wait, why is everyone so early? And then I'm like, oh, I guess okay, we're going to get right into it then. Welcome to the webinar, guys. I see a lot of new faces, which is super cool to see. Welcome. If you're new, we're super excited to have you and to share this amazing content with you guys. It's absolutely changed my dad and I's life. And we're really excited to bring it forward as students ourselves and share it with you guys. So as always, we always ask if you're new, and if you've been here, you've heard me say this so many times, but we love to turn our cameras on. Even if you have a hair mask in, a face mask on, we don't care. We want to see your face. It builds community. It allows you to meet people from all over the world, right? Like-minded people from all over the world who are trying to do something similar to what you're trying to do. So it's really nice to see faces of a like mind, and especially now we're all in isolation, so it's really nice to see all your faces. So turn on your cameras, get comfy, get out a pen and paper, and first, before we hop into it, we're going to get into some wins for the week. So we always open up with wins for the week, just to give gratitude for something you're proud of. It could be as little as having your coffee this morning and being grateful for that, or starting a business, or meeting people, relationships, moving, whatever it is that makes you feel good, that you feel called to share with us. We'd love to hear it. So you can go ahead and raise your hand and share your wins if you have one. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. Well, it's morning.
Good morning. Good evening. Good
morning. So 2 wins. I got a new client signed up today, which is good. But big news I've had is about a week and a half ago, I actually got diagnosed with bipolar type 2 disorder, which initially first imploded my world. But I actually, if I look back at my life with 12 years worth of hard drug addiction and all the behaviors that I've exhibited throughout my life, it's given some understanding and some correlative connection between my behaviors around my business and every facet of my life for that matter, and under greater understanding of why I do some of the stuff that I have done and continue to do. So I've spent about 25 years diving deep into self-development, like a lot of people I'm sure here have as well. And I was always coming back to the same cycle of behavior, same pattern. You know, I qualified as a cognitive hypnotherapist. Like, I deep dived into this stuff quite considerably, and a lot of the subconscious stuff that you talk about here, I do get to a good understanding. But now I can see that my brain is wired differently. And coming out the other side of this sort of last week, I've looked at a lot of information around this, what some people call a disorder. I don't necessarily think a disorder or illness or a disease is the right word that I want to use for it. And I'll tell you what I mean by that, because from a mindset perspective, a lot of people talk about this superpower, which I'll talk about in a second, as something that you need to survive, something that you need to really manage. And I just think that comes across as quite a sort of a negative or a defeatist view of it. Whereas I see a lot of people out there like Edison, Tim Ferriss, Kanye West, all of these people have type 2 as well, right? And they view it very differently. Kanye actually came out recently and said that he views it as a superpower. And obviously he's done very successfully, financially at least. So it just got me thinking. It's like one of the stories that I read, and the analogy that I love, if you think about X-Men and mutants, they all have these incredible powers, right? But they don't know how to deal with them, and they think it's a curse. And actually, through Xavier, he actually teaches them that it's a gift and you can use it. So I'm still right at the beginning of figuring out this. Luckily, I've been involved with biohacking for the last 25 years. And obviously, psychiatrists want to throw you on hardcore drugs straight away, which is not the route that I want to choose to start with. So I've got my network of friends around the world researching into what calcium and omega-3s and all these other different things have an effect on this particular thing. So I think the key thing for me here is like this work that we do around mindset and how we talk about things and how we frame things and discuss it, regardless of what other people deem it as and how they view it. I think that's very powerful. My mind may change and I might decide to go on medication later on down the line when I've researched it more and spoken to more experts. I'm lucky to have a great podcast, and so I can reach out to experts around the world and interview them. So I'll use that influence to sort of to learn more from those sorts of people. But I just think I want to share that because, you know, we went down on lockdown, and a week in, I get this diagnosis. I'm in my own on the flat, and like my mind starts to implode. And then I sort of come out the other side of that and start to realize that actually the way we view things is really important. And I don't need to view this as like a prison. And don't get me wrong, like my brain can go from, which it did in 4 days, go from suicidal thoughts to like being on top of the world. Like that's the beauty of this, whatever, this superpower, this gift, this thing. And, you know, it's going to be an amazing roller coaster. It has been for my whole life. So nothing's really changed in respects to how I'm going about life. But what has changed is my understanding, my awareness of myself and how I work. So I just thought I'd share that because I think it'd be quite useful for people to sort of get that point of view.
I
really appreciate you diving deep into that, because what you're figuring out now, nothing's changed in your life. That's one thing you had, right? But now you became aware of what that is, but nothing changed in your life. You don't have to fear it. You don't have to, matter of fact, it should be a relief. It's like, oh, okay, now I have awareness. And the law of polarity states is there's no such thing as good or bad. There's just conscious awareness and relativity. And I have some people that I know that have been diagnosed, and I'm glad you're not owning it as a disease or a label. Oh. It's just, you know, I'm white, Maddie's 24, you know what I mean? Your mind works a certain way. It just is. It's not good or bad. And the one thing I do know about this is you have the ability to go places with your mind that most of us probably can't on a high. Yeah. And then the other side of that is it might go down, but the more aware you are, even when you're down, you can kind of step outside your body and say, this too shall pass. Like my mom taught me about this. She went through a decade of clinical depression, like cigarettes and smoking, like unhealthy. And she had a paradigm shift, and now she's in her mid 70s. And she's even now, sometimes her body will just start crying, but she's aware enough to say, that's not me. Yeah, it's okay. Crying is not good or bad. It just is. And she has the awareness to just kind of, this too shall pass. So I don't know if that'll help you or not, but I love the way you're processing the information.
I think that's really important. And I think the way I want to view this is, because I've been hacking my life forever. Like that's what I do. I love it. And I feel that I'm actually in a really privileged position with all the stuff that I've learned over the years, to understand this and go at this from an angle that may be slightly different from a lot of other people. But I think the key thing for me is just how I view this. And, I just want to view this as an exciting journey to be able to really master it, because I want to understand, like, all these questions come up. It's like, okay, how do I distinguish between when I'm just being a lazy mother and I'm actually know there's something going on in my brain right now that is, chemically doing some stuff. Like, how do I motivate myself? And I was speaking to my best friend in Canada, and he was saying, when the military have like something that happens, they have like a procedural manual. Right, they get out a book and they'll say, like, right, page 34, this siren's gone off or whatever. They're flying a plane and something's happened. They get a checklist out and they go, right, this is happening. Right, the procedure for this is X, Y, and Z. And I think that as a manual to share with the world, whether they've got bipolar or not, we all go through mental health stuff, would be an amazing gift for me and for everyone else to be able to guinea pig myself and understand the ins and outs of why we, where we're at with this. You could have a flow chart. Like, put that information. It's like, I'm feeling like this. Okay, this happen? Does this happen? Does this happen? And then it's like, okay, do this. This is the procedure to get out of the funk or whatever.
Now you're tapping into the good, right? And it's your journey, and I love where you're going. Imagine the journey that you're going through with the manual that you create for somebody that didn't get on medications, and just being living proof that you don't, because you don't need medications. And I'm not a doctor. I'm just aware that it takes a certain mental mastery. Right. But the mind controls the body. It's not the body controlling the mind. So it's, if you want to solve that challenge, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy or hard, but it's definitely solvable. Excuse me. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So.
No, you're welcome.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Does anybody get any wins for the week they want to share before we get going? Anything real quick that happened that's you're thankful for?
Yeah, well, one thing on the similar line, like, what Nick is talking about, one other thing which I realize is, like, we need to just think in terms of productive and non-productive. you know, if something is not productive, to have a state of mind which is not productive, what's the opposite of it? And I think, Brian, you tell more on this one, but I really like the fact that, like, hey, if I don't like some situation, I look at the opposite side of it, which is what we need. And that way only focus on the thing which we need and not focus on the thing which we don't need. So I identified, like, total 4 of those, and that really helped me be more focused during the days. Last week and this week, like, every hour is counted the way, Brian, you counted, so which is awesome.
Love it. Love it.
I have a win that I'd love to share.
Sure. Hey, Val, what's happening? Long time.
How are you? Yeah, long time no see. I've been busy. I've been working it. So I think using, because I've been with you guys now for less than a year, but more than 6 to 8 months. And I think one of my big wins after being quarantined for a while happened when I started to do goal setting, which is what I learned here. So, and it was at the beginning of the year, and I had done goal setting and things like that earlier, but actually writing down stuff. And I made all sorts of goals. Didn't know how I was going to have them, didn't know how I was going to get them, whatnot. And one of my big goals, obviously, is the car wash. So that's happening, and that's on part of my goal list. But I also had other goals. And one of those goals was being a voiceover artist. I don't know, just always thought that'd be cool, right? Just to either do commercials or I do voiceover stuff already. But it happened. And part of what happened is by writing it down every day, as we learn here in the MMA, but also grouping with friends, a mini mastermind that I've set up because of people that I've met through the MMA. And one of those people, Deb and Patty, but mainly Deb, called me on it and called me on some action items for one of them. And as I got into it, I got lost. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. What if I can do this? So I now am doing book narrations for Audibles and Amazon, working from home as another alternative revenue stream, and have been contracted to do 2 books. I've formed a little studio here in my house while I'm quarantined, and have sat down and learned the art of being a sound engineer from that. So I am very grateful, and it was on my on my goal sheet to be a voiceover artist, and boom, now I am. So
that's awesome. There is a ton of money in that industry too.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Thanks. Just one more revenue stream, right? One more revenue stream.
I love it. That's awesome.
Awesome, guys. So we are going to head into some content I'm going to share with you guys. Thank you all for sharing your wins. Val, it's nice to see your beautiful face on here again. I missed you. Val's been here since the beginning, guys. Val's an OG MMA member. We've since transitioned to Mindset Masters, but she is an OG for sure. Okay, let me share my screen with you guys. Super excited to share this with you. Give me 1 second. All right, can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome, guys. So obviously we are in the midst of a pandemic, okay? The world's a little odd, confusing, and weird right now. I think you'd all agree. It's very weird times. I've never lived through a time where I couldn't leave the house or certainly any kind of economic downturn or anything. So it's very unique, very interesting, sensitive, odd, confusing time, right? The news is bombarding us with negativity, stories, horror, all these things. And so now more than ever is a time to dig into yourself, more than ever before. We were on a webinar and a gentleman shared with us, now is the time where most people back out, or they take out their investments, or they stop they're studying for themselves, or they stop personal development and they kind of hunker down. And now is the time to be digging into yourself, now more than ever before, right? It's more important now than ever before because of the environment that we're in. We're constantly getting bombarded now more than ever with negativity, with what's going wrong, with businesses collapsing, firing, layoffs, blah, blah, blah. And while we want to be sensitive to all these things, we also want to remember that we are always in control of our results. Just because the world's in chaos does not mean that manifestation stops working, right? The world is governed by universal laws. These laws don't stop working. Just because the coronavirus is running rampant, it stops working, right? We can still jump off of a building and it not end so hot for us. Okay, it's the same way the law of attraction works. It's not done working here, right? It's always working. We're always in control of the results we're seeing in our physical world, right? Our results are always the cause of our thoughts that we're thinking. And we are always in control of our thoughts, right? We're the gatekeepers to our mind. So I want to be clear with you guys. Understand that even though the world may seem to be in a chaotic time, it's your choice whether you buy into that chaos or whether you choose your own thoughts and decide your own future, your own results, and move forward that way. So I wanted to bring up this chart for you guys so you clearly understand how we work. Okay, we've all been programmed from a very little lives we lived, and we got programmed by our environment, our parents, our schooling, people who had influence in our lives, and it's not good nor bad, but it just is, right? My programming at 18 years old is different than yours at 18 years old. It's different than Oprah's. It's different than what Bill Gates was, right? Imagine if we all grew up with Bill Gates as our dad, we probably wouldn't be on this webinar. We'd probably be in Bora Bora somewhere, right? And so it's all about your environment. Now, the masses of people, and I used to be a part of this because we know no better, right? After this, guys, you're not going to be ignorant anymore. Okay, and ignorance is not a bad term. It just means you don't understand, you're not sure, you don't have the awareness. Okay, but after this, you're going to have the awareness to choose your thoughts and therefore create your reality and your results. Now, the masses of people, they start with their results. They start with what's going on as a result in the physical world, right? They look at the bank account. They watch the news and they wait for the news to tell them that their business is supposed to collapse in the next 12 months. They watch the news and they wait for the news to tell them that they're supposed to get laid off in the next few months. That blah, 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 blah. All these things are going to be happening. Okay, they're constantly looking at the outside for answers. Okay, they're constantly looking at the report card, the bank account, the spreadsheets, the statements that come in, constantly looking at the physical results and allowing the physical results to control their actions that they take. Oh, Trump says this, I better stop business, better shut down, better do this. And so they take action in that direction. Now, action, right, is done through our body, and the actions that we take cause the feelings that we have. And so then we let the outside world and our actions that we take, we look at them, we get emotionally involved. Oh crap, business is supposed to tank. I got to pull out of my business. Our vibration tanks, our feeling tanks, right? Our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. Okay. And so when our feeling tanks, our subconscious mind grabs onto that, and that causes our thoughts that we think, right? Oh, business isn't going well. We kind of just like fall into this like robotic movement, and it's all based off of what the outside world is saying is true, which is not true, right? It's just the result of past thinking. Okay. And so this is how the masses think. They think from the outside in. Now, as a mindset master, our goal for you, my dad and I's goal is really to help millions of people with this information. The number would probably blow your mind. There's going to be a lot more than 100 people on this webinar one day, sometime soon. But our goal for you guys is to teach you how to think from the inside out, how to control your results from the inside out rather than letting the outside world control you, right? We want you to stay in charge of you. And so how do we do that? It's about understanding, right? It's understanding that you're a conduit of creation. You're a conduit for creation, right? You can think of like a molding tool or something that's moving clay into form, or it's molding glass. Think of a mold it's a conduit for creation, right? You're always moving energy to and through you and into form. Okay, that might be a mouthful for some of you, but just have an open mind and let it sink in. Energy is always flowing to and through us. Now, when energy flows in, we have a choice, right? We form energy with our thoughts. So whatever we're thinking, that energy flows into, right? And it's taking form, like shaping glass, moving things into form. Now, if we're thinking chaos and we're thinking debt and lack and worrying about this pandemic and worrying about business crashing and all of these things are worry, doubt, and fear going on in our conscious mind, that energy is breathing life into exactly that. And then we get emotionally involved in our subconscious mind, like I said, is our emotional mind. We get emotionally involved with things. Our subconscious mind says, okay, I'm going to accept that. I'm going to accept that business is tanking. I'm going to accept that I am going to get sick. And our subconscious mind controls our body. And our body takes action and therefore creates the results that we get in our lives. So what we want you guys to do is to start with new thoughts. Take a moment and just think, what is it that you would like to happen? In a world where everything is possible, what is it that you would like to see happen out of this? In every good, there's an equal and opposite bad, right? If this is really, really bad, it has to be really, really good just by law. So what is that good? You have to choose to see the good. You have to choose the thoughts that you're entertaining, the thoughts that you're getting emotionally involved with. Okay, so tonight, after this webinar, I'm going to hand it over to my dad in a second here, but after this webinar, I want you guys to sit in your thoughts and think about what is it that you would like to see happen? What do you want? It doesn't matter what the media is saying. I haven't turned on the news in like a week and a half. I haven't turned on the news at all. I just hear it from other people, honestly. And it's not that I don't want to know about it, right? I'm not ignorant to it. I know what's going on. I know that it's sensitive, but I also know that I'm in charge of me. And if I let too much of that get into my head, then I'm going to manifest exactly that in my world. And I don't want that. Okay, so Dad, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to expand upon this. You want me to take him down? Oop.
Yeah, you can take that down. Put everybody's shining faces back up. So
There you go.
Awesome. Great job, Offspring 2.0 in the house. First of all, I want to welcome so many new people here. God bless you all for being here. It's just such a joy because we created this thing quite a while ago so that nobody got left behind. You know, we were coaching people at a sort of a medium level at $10,000 and up all the way to $100,000 a year. And it just really, it kind of frustrated me that there wasn't a way to like get this information to everybody. So what you're seeing here is exactly what Maddie said. And our intention, and we will pass 1 million people at some point. So you are some of the founders. Matter of fact, somewhere around 500 and 600 people. When we get to 1,000 people, this webinar will only be for the founders and people that are sort of at a higher level, if that makes sense. You guys are actually part of the founders of the Mindset Masters here. So welcome, founders. And I want to compound a little bit more on what Maddie's saying there. And also I want to get you guys thinking a little bit. I know a lot of you here are in network marketing, you have online stores, you have vehicles to build wealth. And I think most people here have goals that are tied to building wealth and increasing your financial position. So this becomes very, very simple. It becomes very, very simple. The process to wealth is, number one, finding a vehicle that's capable of doing it, which would not be a job. There's not many jobs where you can build wealth. Even a surgeon, they're lucky to make, $500,000 a year. So, but you might have a job that allows you to build some additional income. Then you take that income and put it in real estate or something like that. But you want to make sure that you have a vehicle that can get where you're going. So if you're telling me you want to get to 100K a month, but you're a full-time employee, then you need to be building something up on the side. So we just want to look at this very black and white. Whatever your goals are, I want you to ask yourself, are you in the vehicle that can get you to your goal? Because if not, then we need to change that like right now. We need to just look at this black and white and say, whatever your monetary goal is, do you have a vehicle that can get you there? So the first thing is to find a vehicle. The second thing and most important thing is to raise your level of awareness through the spaced repetition. I know we get a lot of new people from IML on here. And if you look at Alex, he studies with Bob. What he's studying is exactly what we're teaching you here. The difference is Alex probably pays $500,000 a year, and you guys are paying 67 cents a day. And that's the whole point, is to get this information out to the masses, right? Not just for the super elite or the super wealthy, because this is how you become super wealthy, is you start to become aware. That makes sense, guys? And I'll give you a good example. When you were born and you were 3 months old as a baby, you were not aware how to put your own clothes on. I want you to really think about this. You were not aware on how to put your own clothes on. But I'm looking at you all here, and apparently, because you're not sitting here naked, you became aware, and you now know how to clothe yourselves, right? Now, that might sound obviously like overly simple, but there's no difference in getting to $100,000 a month or learning how to clothe yourself. The only difference becomes your limiting beliefs. As a baby, you don't have limiting beliefs. Whatever is being done around you, you can learn to be a terrorist or a philanthropist, right? A brand new baby doesn't have the option of picking and choosing. Whatever's going on around a brand new baby will go right into the subconscious. And that's what happened with all of us. And there is no good or bad or right or wrong. It's not your parents' fault. It's not the school's fault. All we're doing here is saying, that's fine. Let's leave the past where it is. Like Maddie just pointed out, you don't look at your present results to cause your future unless you want more of your present results. Does that make sense, guys? Don't look at your bank account. You know, if you're looking to get healthier, don't look at your current body. Don't look at your relationships, right? You want to just focus all of your energy on where you're going. So our short-term goal is 10 million a month, right? So all of our energy, and I mean all of it, goes towards that. If I get any inconsistent thought in my mind, I kick it out instantly. And that's what we're going to teach you guys here, right? There's a law of polarity, a law of opposites that Maddie was talking about. I can't be worrying about this pandemic. Is this going to make all of our clients go away? I can't be thinking that and moving towards 10 million at the same time. I can only do one or the other. Does that make sense? You guys the same way. Whatever your goal is, you can't think nobody in my family's done it. I'm too old. You know, I'm in too small of a town. I had somebody tell me that on a call today. Well, there's only 2,000 people in my town. That doesn't matter at all. That's just her paradigm speaking. She's in a network marketing company. Well, we have this thing called the internet, and there's almost 8 billion people on the planet. So she was buying her own excuse. So one of the things we do here, and sometimes it might feel like I'm hitting pretty hard, but sometimes that's what needs to happen, right? We all don't want to buy our own excuses. There's nothing that you guys are doing. How do I want to say this? If you look at some of the most successful people, they started off in some of the most horrific ways, right? If you look at somebody like Oprah Winfrey, right? She started off, you know, sort of American impoverished. I mean, she was beaten, she was raped, and now she's a billionaire. If you look at, Maddie, who's the author of the Harry Potter books? It's, excuse me, I forget her name, but anyway, she was.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, thanks, John. She was clinically depressed and suicidal. And what she did, and actually, Nick, you're going to appreciate this. What she did is she took that darkness and refocused that energy to create a fantasy world called Harry Potter. All she did is took her perception of something was bad, which was very high energy, but she was putting the high energy towards all the ways things wouldn't work, like fear, doubt, lack, worry. As soon as she took her energy and shifted it towards a fantasy world, she created a $1 billion empire. Think about that. Now, anybody here can do that. Anybody here can do that. But the first thing you got to do is decide to do it. See, everything starts a decision, guys. You can't be worried about the how. Let's say you want to get to 100,000 a month, and you're like, well, how am I going to do that? If you're worried about the how, you're putting your energy in the wrong place. Right? And I can prove this to you. If you knew how to get to 100,000 a month, you'd already be there. Just think about that for a minute. You can't worry about the how. You're not going to know how. More than likely, it's not even the way that you're probably thinking. What you got to do is decide you want to get to 100,000 a month, and then put all your energy in towards whatever's in front of you, whatever that stream is. When I was in you guys' shoes, I had made a decision to two things. I wanted to 10x my construction company. I wanted to go from 1 million to 10 million in 12 months. And I wanted to become a 7-figure earner in my network marketing company. So what I did through this material, because I understood this material, is I put all my energy towards that. I didn't worry about, you know, how am I going to go from 1 million to 10 million in 12 months? If I'm caught up in the how, it means the energy's in the in the wrong direction. It's thinking how instead of pushing forward. Does that make sense, guys? You don't even have to know how this works. You just need to know it does, right? There's so much evidence, even all around us, right, of people that they were here and now they're here. And this is how it happens. They focus 100% of their energy only on what they want. So if you guys catch yourselves thinking about, well, anything either depressive or, you know, this pandemic that's going on, none of that matters. None of that matters. I mean, if you guys know Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, he survived the Holocaust for 4 years. Like, this is not the Holocaust. Now, I'm not trying to belittle this, and some of you might be getting impacted by this. But what I'm saying is that people that understand this, the environment never matters. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. It only matters what's going on here and how you wake up in the morning and how you condition your mind towards moving towards what you want. Does that make sense, guys? And I want to chat a little bit. We'll open up for Q&A in a minute. I want to chat a little bit about some of the universal laws that we're dealing with. Because in order to create at a high level, you have to get in harmony with these universal laws. Now, you don't need to know why this works, because you don't know why electricity works, but you just know it does, right? And you don't know anything about gravity, but you're all flying around the world, well, we used to, right, on planes. We put our life on the line every time we fly, but we can't explain gravity. So you don't need to know, but I'm going to give you a little bit of surface level information so you understand how to get in harmony, right? So there's the universal law of vibration. It's the first primary law after the law that states either I am or energy is, right? And the law of vibration states that whatever vibration you're on, mentally and physically, you're going to attract whatever's on that frequency. This is why depressed people hang out with depressed people. And this is also why billionaires hang out with billionaires. That's the law of attraction. I should call it the law of magnetism. Right? A lot of people think, oh, I believe in the law of attraction. I can manifest. Saying you believe in the law of attraction is like saying you believe in the law of gravity. Does that make sense? It's not a question of if attraction works. You're always attracting everything into your life. Whether it's good or bad is up to you to determine, but you can't not attract things. You can't turn it on and off. But what you can do is raise your vibration, right? When you learn to raise your vibration, you attract what you're in harmony with. Does that make sense, guys? So all we need to do is raise our vibration, and we can tell you guys, we can show you guys how to do that. But the law of vibration, when you're fantasizing about your amazing future, the 100K a month, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Who are you helping? Where do you live? You have your vision board, your goal cards, your life scripts. When you super saturate your mind from the conscious to the subconscious with your fantasy and your goal, what you're doing is raising your vibration. Does that make sense, guys? But if you only do this on Sundays, right, and then you have chaotic thoughts all week long, what you're doing is turning the light switch off 6 days a week, and you're only turning the light switch on Sundays. Does that make sense? And the rest of the week, you're going backwards. So the trick to this, guys, is to always be in a high vibration. And that's why we created the Mindset Masters, is because we're going through this journey forever. Like, this is not 30 days in and out. As Madison and I learn more and more and more, and we bring this to you, it's a constant journey together. This is a lifelong community. So buckle up. We're all going to get old together. All right, guys? But it's a community of people helping each other, right? So when you fantasize every single morning about your goal, you're raising your vibration. And when you go out into the world and start working or calling people or showing this or doing that or interacting, you're on your Shopify store, you're in your Amazon store, you're growing your network marketing company, whatever that is. When you do it in a high vibration, you're going to attract the people, places, and things that are in harmony with your 100K a month. Does that make sense, guys? So that's how we use the law of vibration. You have to visually go there every morning. You have to fantasize, is what it is, right? Everything starts as thoughts. Every single thing in this universe started as a thought, including the universe itself. In the Bible, it says, in the beginning, all there was is the word. Well, what is that? That's conscious awareness. There was nothing physical before conscious, right? So everything starts in an energy state, including 100,000 a month. If you can think 100,000 a month, it's here. It's already here in the spiritual or the energy state, right? If you guys play with me here, right? If you guys right now say, man, I'm hungry, I want a pizza. And then you call and order a pizza, the pizza shows up, right? Think about this. I'm hungry is a thought. It's thought energy. It's nothing. It's no thing. And then you put that thought energy through a cell phone, which nobody here can explain. And then the next thing you know, a pizza shows up. Now, because you guys are aware of how to order a pizza, that does not seem like magic. But to a 6-month-old baby, it would be impossible. Does that make sense? It's levels of awareness through study, guys. Now, $100,000 a month is actually very easy. And so is $1 million a month and 10 million a month. There's no such thing as big or small. There's just conscious awareness, which you all have, and then relativity. The universal law of relativity. If you think $100,000 a month is a lot, you're probably never going to get it. You have to minimize it. Does that make sense? Now, everybody here knows people, either in the media or personally. Everybody here has seen people like Oprah and Alex and Bob, right? And Grant Cardone and me and Maddie. You guys have seen people do this, just like me. For 43 years, I was watching the world go by, ignorant and unaware of what we're teaching here. And then I started to study and I became aware very quick. And then the rest is history, right? So anybody can do this. And you all made the decision, which is awesome, to be here with us. And that's the tip of the sword. So I'm not going to go too much deeper into that. What I want to do is open up for any questions you guys have on anything we've talked about, or how to get into a high vibration, anything to do with the law of attraction, vibration, magnetism. Go ahead, Nick.
There's a few questions in the chat, Dad. I'd like to read them off first.
Yeah, go ahead, Maddie. Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome. So talk about goal setting really quick. Femi says, I'd like to get a deeper understanding of goal setting, goal card. What are the first steps for goal setting and making your goal card? Perfect.
Yeah. So the reason we set a goal is something that you want. It's not something you think you can get. So if anybody here is setting goals that are like 10K a month, I'm going to tell you right now, 10K a month is not what you want. Nobody here wants 10K a month. It might be a stepping stone, but if somebody has a goal of 10K a month, what you're really saying is that's what I think I can get. You guys see the difference? So a goal is something you want. Like, what do you want? There's no such thing as big or small. It's only, what do you want? Right? Now, the other thing, guys, you don't have to have a why that makes you cry. You don't have to have a reason for this thing. I mean, it's good to have an attachment. You want to be able to see it and own it and live it and breathe it. But for a human being, just because you want it is enough. The reason we have a goal card is it's a physical thing, right? Human beings, we operate on 3 levels. Spirit, intellect, body. Spirit, intellect, body. So in the physical world, most of your goals are physical. 100K a month is a physical goal to buy a physical house and have a physical car and take your family on physical vacations. We're expressing in a physical world. So most of your goals are physical. So a goal card is a physical thing. And the reason why we put on a goal card is so it's so clear and concise. I'm so happy and grateful. So on goal cards, we always started like this. I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning in excess of $10 million a month through multiple revenue sources in a spirit of harmony. It's a sweet, short, concise paragraph that you take out every morning, every noon, every night. What happens is every time you touch it in your pocket, it goes right to your subconscious mind without reading it. That's why goal cards work. Do you guys know that less than 3% of the world has goals and less than 1% have them written? I want you to really hear me. If you're distracted right now, whatever's distracting you, stop. Put your phone down, put everything down. I want you to hear this. Less than 3% of the world have goals. Less than 1% have them written down. 1% of the world controls 96% of the wealth. Look at the numbers. 1% of the population is earning 96% of all the money on the whole planet. Do you see the correlation between a written goal card and 96% of the money in the world goes to those 1%? You don't need any more information than that, do we, right? You don't have to know why a goal card works. Just understand that people that are earning 96% of the wealth in the world have goal cards. That help, guys?
Anna, he says, I've been studying these for months with Bob Proctor, but I have a hard time ignoring my current financial situation. How do I do that when I have daily things reminding me what I'm trying to change and the environment is negative?
I'm going to let you take that one.
Sure. I was actually typing the response and then I erased it, so I feel like you picked up on that.
Of course I did.
So this is often, right? We don't start studying this information because we have everything figured out, right? We start studying because we're seeking answers, we're trying to get somewhere, we're trying to make a quantum leap financially, physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever it may be for you. And so what you need to do, and this might sound a little, you really need to be easy with your physical results, what's going on around you. You have to understand that what's going around you is not a part of you. Your results are not you. Your bank account is not you. Your financial situation is not you. Anything around you, that is not you. It's just a reflection of either your past thinking or other people's past thinking, and it can change. And so the worst thing you can do is look at your present results and say, and this is easy to do, and it's human nature to do it, so don't beat yourself up either. But the worst thing we can do is look at our present results and get emotionally involved in that result. Oh no, the bank account's down, it's negative, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, then this, and creating this whole image in our mind of what we think is going to happen. What are you doing right there? You're manifesting, you're doing exactly what you're doing exactly what we are telling you to do, but in the wrong direction. You're building an image, you're giving it focus, you're giving it attention, you're breathing life into what you don't want. Right? John Calandria said, my dad always says this, worrying is like praying for what you don't want. Worrying is like praying for what you don't want. What's going around you is irrelevant. It is what it is. There's no reason to worry, to stress, to fear, because you can't change. It is what it is, right? Up until now, it is what it is. So be easy with your results. Observe them like you would somebody else's life. That's interesting. Okay, try to be easy with yourself. Try to make light of the physical results if they're not favorable to you. And then what you want to do is get emotionally involved in what you do want. Okay? Observe it for what it is. I don't want that. No thanks. Let's write down what we do want and let's visualize that. Let's bring that to our imagination. Your imagination is so powerful, guys. Your imagination is where everything gets cooked up. That's the most powerful creative faculty that we have, higher mental faculty that we have. It's our ability to create our future in our minds, right? We think in pictures, create the image. What does it look like when money isn't a problem? What does it look like when your health is perfect? What does it look like? How does that feel? You have to understand that what you want is a place. It exists already. My dad and I are going to 10 million a month. That exists already. I know what that feels like. I know what I'm driving. I know what I'm wearing. I know where we're eating. I know how we're traveling. I know how we're interacting. I know exactly how that feels because I go there every day in my mind. And that means it's going to come even faster and faster and faster, right? If you can emotionally get involved with the image, it heightens the attraction. Think of yourself as a magnet, right? I love to use the analogy. Think of yourself as a little, like metal bits in a drawer, right? They're moving around. They get magnetized and suddenly they're all stuck together. Think of yourself as a magnet. The way that you get in harmony, right, or in the same frequency to attract your goal is by getting in harmony with it. How do you do that? Think about what you want. Get emotionally involved in what you want. Create the mental image of the place that you're going, okay? And live there. And don't get so emotionally involved in your present results. Does that help? I hope that helps. Dad, do you have anything to add?
That was good. The one thing I do want to say, when you say think of yourself in a magnet, guys, you are a magnet. That's not just a phrase or a metaphor. You literally are a magnet. You're an electromagnetic being. You are in a state of vibration. You are attracting everything into your life. It's not an opinion. It's the law of magnetism. The law of attraction should be called the law of magnetism because that's what it is. And you guys don't know why two magnets stick, but you know that they stick. If you raise your vibration, you'll get on the frequency of that of what you want. $100,000 a month is on a frequency. The Wright brothers were not on the frequency of flight until they tried and repeated, right? And asked and got information, tried, repeated, got information. It's the trial and error process. And then they became aware. And then they became on the frequency of something that we call as the information of how to flight. So 100,000 a month is just a level of awareness, and it's not big or small. If Warren Buffett was on this webinar and you said, I want to get to 100,000 a month. He said, well, that's cute. I can help you do that. He earns $1.5 million a day just on the dividend interest in Coca-Cola stock alone. He's just more aware. He's not better or worse. He's just more aware in the one little category called financial wealth building. Does that make sense, guys? You got to really start playing with this stuff. There's no such thing as big or small. The entire earth is not big or small. It just is. It's not until you compare it to like a golf ball or the entire universe. So 100K a month is not big or small until you compare it maybe to your present income or Warren Buffett's income. So the way
Another question.
Oh, what's that?
Oh.
One last thing. Yeah, the way we raise our level of awareness is through the spaced repetition. I know what I'm telling you makes sense intellectually. You have to hear this 1,000 times before it gets into your subconscious and your body moves. Maybe not 1,000, but you're going to hear this stuff over and over and over and over again. That's how something becomes magnetized. If I take a piece of steel and I have a magnet and I run the magnet back and forth and back and forth and back and forth through repetition, the constant spaced repetition of motion, that piece of steel will become magnetized, just like the screwdriver that rolls around in your toolbox. Next thing you know, the screws are sticking to the screwdriver. You don't know why. A human being is a magnet. We're an electromagnetic being. So Warren Buffett is just more attractive to money than we are. Does that make sense, guys? That help? What's the other question, Maddie?
Lisa says, I just joined my second network marketing company. I've only been doing it for 2.5 years. I keep stopping and starting and questioning if network marketing is really for me. How do I know whether it is just a paradigm that's stopping me or if it's really just not for me?
Oh, it's absolutely the paradigm. It's 100% the paradigm. And like what you said, you're starting and stopping and starting and stopping. So that's like flicking a light switch up and down, but expecting the light to stay on. There is nothing in the universe that's created without consistent energy flow. I want you guys to really think about this. If you plant a carrot seed in the garden, and then you go out tomorrow and you dig it up, and then you plant it again, the next day you come out, you dig it up, and then you plant it again, it's never going to sprout. Everything in the universe, especially network marketing, it takes consistent energy flow. You cannot start and stop. So it's not network marketing, or it's not you either. It's not your fault, whoever's question that was. That's one thing I'm going to say, guys. Don't beat yourself up. Don't have regret. Don't have worry. Don't have any of that stuff, because beating yourself up is a complete waste of time. Right? All we have is the here and the now and the forward. What happened in the past is irrelevant. What you want to do is get consistent energy flow towards what you want. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did.
Good.
All right, guys. Do you have any other questions? You can unmute yourself if you have one.
Nick had his hand up.
Yes, I was just curious. We obviously need to take massive action towards the goal that we choose, or the goals that we choose. How do you view the difference? Because between taking action and sort of law of magnetism, right? So my question is simple. It's without action, nothing will really happen within our business or our life, right? So is the magnetism side of it the like sticking a supercharger on a car, so it's actually accelerating it towards what you want to achieve? Or because without one or the other, like it doesn't work? I just wanted some clarification around like how you would explain that.
I think I can help with this. Here's the thing with magnetism. You guys are always attracting everything into your life. It's not something you turn on and off. What you got to do is just look at the different areas of your life, whether it's faith, fitness, finance, friends, like just look at the different areas. And if you find something that's not serving you or that you want to enhance, then you need to change the vibration. So I want to be very, very clear. Every single one, we're always attracting everything into our life. So we're all magnetized now. It's just you might not be on the frequency of attracting a lot of money. If that's the case, well, then we need to raise our level of awareness through study in the field of wealth building. Like Warren Buffett still reads 6 books a week. And at some point he became obsessed and he just studied finance. I know a lot of people here are Forex traders. Well, if you keep studying Forex trading and you keep studying in your mind here and you keep taking action, time becomes the only variable. You can actually surrender to the process. You're already at 100,000 a month. But if you wake up tomorrow and you have fear, doubt, worry, especially if you're traders, if you're trading with fear, you're screwed. The markets are non-emotional. You can't be emotional and be a trader. You have to have a system, right? So Nick, we're always attracting everything into our lives.
Yeah, so I suppose what I'm trying to understand for myself is, there'll be people that won't think of it in the terms that we're talking about in this webinar and what you teach, right?
Sure.
And who would have gone out and created wealth or whatever it is that they were looking to
create.
Yeah, and so they've taken X amount of actions, whatever those actions were, to get to that particular goal. And I wonder, if I spoke to those types of people, they would think, maybe if I had this conversation with them, it wouldn't be on their wavelength, wouldn't be sort of how they spoke about life, right? And I just wonder, are they doing, through the actions they're taking, are they going in with those laws? Like, they may not have written their goals or visualized.
No, 100%. Now I understand your question. Thanks for clarifying that. No, there is no such thing as creation unless you're in harmony with the laws of creation. So what they are is unconscious competence. Grant Cardone is a good example. He's a very good example because he just passed $1 billion in real estate assets, right? But he's completely ignorant about how he did it as far as what we're talking about here. But we don't have to wonder about that. It's impossible to create unless you're in harmony with the laws of creation. Just like it's impossible to fly unless you're in harmony with the law of gravity. So Grant Cardone has actually gone on all kinds of platforms. I don't believe in the law of attraction. Well, that's like saying you don't believe in the law of gravity. He's completely ignorant about this material, but you don't need to know why this works in order to be successful. I want to be very clear about that. He is an unconscious competent. But if you look at his life, when he was in his mid-40s, he had a paradigm shift. Anybody that makes that massive of a change, he wasn't successful until he was in his mid-40s. He had a paradigm shift. And then he got an idea and he super saturated his mind, like, I am going to be wealthy in real estate if it kills me. So he raised his vibration. He got on the frequency of attracting what he calls physical properties and deals and people and things. He became obsessed, maybe even unhealthy obsession about one thing. And when he moved on that track, I promise you, he wasn't thinking about all the ways it wouldn't work. But nobody can create in this universe without being in harmony with the laws of creation and raising the vibration to get on the frequency of what it is they want.
So if someone was going for a goal, but still had, because I look at comedians as an example. Like comedians, you get very successful comedians, but if you look at the underneath the hood, they are a lot of time they have low self-worth. Like, they're doing what they're doing, and they openly admit this. They're doing what they're doing to sort of to fill a void of attention and wanting to get.
Jim Carrey's a good example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's loads of them throughout history, and I just wonder, like, what because again they've got okay, it's interesting because they've got wealth, but they may not have the whole. Actually,
they don't have wealth. What package. They have is money. Yeah, they don't have. Wealth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They have money, but they don't necessarily have happiness or fulfillment. So
that's because they're not aware. And again, so that's where somebody is not aware of this information. See, wealth has nothing to do with money. Gandhi was very wealthy. Wealth is an inside-out thing. You wake up happy. You don't get happiness. Happiness is from the inside out. It's not something that happens to you. It happens through you, and it has nothing to do with other people. It has nothing to do with money. Happiness is a frequency. It's a vibration, and so is depression. Those are just frequencies and vibrations. So when I say awareness, a lot of those people that get to high levels of financial income and they're not happy is because they're not aware. They're not aware that money has nothing to do with happiness. Now, it can be a part of it, but like I said, you can take somebody like Gandhi who had no material wealth and he had 200 million followers. And Jesus, right? No material wealth. So finances is just one small piece of it. I want you guys to put up your hands like this, right? Everybody put up your hands like this. And I want you to put your fingers down if you don't have what I'm going to say, right? If you don't have friends in your life, put one finger down. If you don't have faith, close one finger. Right? If you don't have a high level of fitness, close one finger. And it's okay, right? Now, if you don't have $100 million a month, close one finger. How many fingers are up? Right? You're wealthy. Now let's do this again. Let's take somebody, you put your hands down, right? You take somebody that's Steve Jobs was a billionaire. This was Steve Jobs as far as wealth. not really any spiritual faith. I mean, he tripped a lot on a lot of acid and mescaline, but didn't have a lot of love in his life. Physically, he died of cancer because he wasn't paying attention, right? And he just kind of stepped on people to get ahead. Very, very impressive person, very much a visionary, revolutionized several industries, but he was not a wealthy person. Everyone here is more wealthy than Steve Jobs was if you understand wealth. Now, money is actually the easiest thing to enhance out of those 5 things. Does that help, guys? You're wealthy now. It's just you're missing a little bit of money. It's not a big deal. Let's not magnify small things.
Dad, I believe her name's Grainy. I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong, but you can unmute yourself and ask your question. I know you have one.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, and I know it's like 2 a.m. for you too, so kudos to you and welcome to the
Yes.
family.
Where are you from?
In Ireland.
Sweet. We've gone international.
Yes.
Actually, I think there's quite a few countries on here. We're all over the place.
Yeah. I think this is my first webinar, so I just wanted to double check something. So I have a goal that I want to make £1 million every year in a thriving business, but I don't know how to do it. And I know you've talked about you don't need to know how, but is it just working on raising my level of conscious awareness at the minute, or you don't take any action steps?
No. It's 3 things. It's 3 things. It's definitely 3 things, guys, right? We have an intellect, a spirit, and a body. You have to work on all 3 planes. So right now, you guys are raising your level of awareness in your mindsets. 95% of success is mindset. Whatever industry you're going to pursue, let's say it's real estate, then you need to study real estate. You need to study like Grant Cardone or Robert Kiyosaki, people that have made billions in real estate. And then the third thing is the body has to move. The body is the physical expression. You need to take massive action.
Okay.
It's the combination of all study for your mind every day, study in your craft. Could be a musician, it could be network marketing, it could be forex trading, right? Whatever your craft is, find the best of the best in the world and study them. And then physically you got to take action every day. So here's what happens with this process, guys, right? Here's what happens. If you're studying your mind, you're studying your craft, it means you're learning new things and you're taking action. So if you study in the morning, boom, boom, and then you take action, it means you're trying the thing you just studied. And then you're going to get feedback. It either works or it doesn't work. And then the next day you study a little more, mind, craft, take action. And then you get feedback and the subconscious mind starts to process what is working and what is not. And it's, oh, wait a minute, I had some success. I signed somebody in my business. Subconscious mind says, okay, let's throw that as a program. That worked. And then you study your mind and your craft, and then you try again. So it's this process. Human beings, we are God's highest form of creation. We are born creators. We are a part of the same universal consciousness as God. Call it energy of God. It's the same thing. It's universal consciousness. We have limitless capabilities. It's only our limiting beliefs that have been given to us by other people over time cause us to think that I can or I can't. And if you say I can or can't, you're correct. Whether you say I can or I can't, you are absolutely 100% correct.
Okay.
That help?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the family. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good.
So my question is, so I'm a forex trader, and my goal is $1 billion.
By when?
In 730 days, to be exact.
I love that. I love that.
And so I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to make sure I'm not trying to figure out the how. And I have my strategy. I haven't lost a trade in 30 trades, so everything's going good. But I feel like I may be blocking myself by trying to figure out the how. And so I was, do I focus on being 97% accurate because that's one of the goals, or winning 3%? I just got to win 3% a day. 5 days.
Now you're focused on you're focusing too much on the mechanism of it, right? 95% is spiritual, 5% is physical. So those things that you're doing are good, but you don't need to focus on those. You're doing those. Now, what I would say to you, you said you want a billion?
Yeah, $1 billion.
It's about 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Here's one thing I want to say to you. You're going to have to do more than just trade Forex because there's not really any leverage in it.
So the way I was going to do is by compounding.
Okay.
So I have a whole strategy, exactly what I need to trade every time I trade, all the way to that 730 day.
What I would say to you, at some point, you're going to want to get into real estate, though.
Okay.
Because it's just, I mean, I don't know, and it's not, this doesn't matter, by the way. I just don't know many people in 2 years that have just done Forex trading to become a billionaire.
Okay.
That makes sense? I'm not saying you can or cannot do it. I'm just saying we want to always be open. The goal is $1 billion. Do you really care if it comes by Forex trading or something else?
See, that's good. Yep.
Now, here's what happens, guys. Here's what happens. When you pursue Forex trading with all your passion, all your might, all your everything, you're going to see other doors will open up. When you start, are you in IML? Yeah.
Yep.
What are you currently like a chairman 5 or 10? What are you at?
I'm a platinum 600.
Okay.
I've been in the company for like 4 months.
Okay. No worries. So when you go,
I pick up quick though.
well, you know, your strategy is perfect. So now you're studying in your mind, and now you know there's no such thing as big or small.
Right.
So when you very rapidly go to chairman 25, you're going to attract people that you never knew before, places, things, situations. You're going to have people say, hey man, I got this idea for a software company. I get there for this company. You're going to now have capital, like investors. You're going to be training with people.
Right.
All these things are going to come to you as you start to raise on that journey to $1 billion. And you'll end up getting to the $1 billion, not by Forex trading, but that'll be the thing that started it.
Got it.
Like everything you guys see that I am now, I started pursuing network marketing with a passion. And I said, I'm going to get to 7 figures in network marketing, right? And the funny thing is I didn't get to 7 figures in network marketing. I got to it by a whole host of other things, construction and consulting company. But I met Bob Proctor because I pursued network marketing with a vengeance.
Right.
So I don't want to, that's what I mean about you don't need to know the how. Just this is what I want. Put it out into the universe. Pursue what's in front of you with everything that you got. And you're going to see that other doors are just going to open.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So what if I had a goal like I want to be the best Forex trader?
Well, that's a good goal.
I want to dominate the market as a trader.
That's what I would pursue. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. And so how do you set a goal like that without really trying to focus on the how? Like I know like percentage rates and stuff like that. I know I need to be consistent, patient, disciplined. I need to be able to execute my strategy. Like, do I focus on those things? Like when I'm meditating, when I'm doing
those are good things.
Visualization.
Those are good things to focus on when you're in the mechanism of it. When you're meditating, all I want you to do is think $1 billion, $1 billion, $1 billion. I don't care if you win the lottery ticket to get it.
You're right.
Seriously, I'm being honest here. When you're putting energy out to the universe, it's just the result. Focus on the wish fulfilled, the $1 billion, right? Like if I want light to come out of a bulb, I turn a switch. I don't worry about the laws of the universe that electricity is flowing through the wires and the electrons are lighting up and it goes through a filament and it turns the gas in the bulb and that's why it's yellow. We don't focus on all that. I just want the light on.
Right.
Right. So let's just simplify this. You just want $1 billion. It's not even a big goal. I just want $1 billion. Yeah. So when you're meditating, it's the billion. What does it look like? Where are you with? Are you in the same, are you one floor above Alex or below him in the Porsche Tower? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you're meditating, it's the fantasy, it's the dream. Now, when you're in the physical state, yes, what you're doing, you focus on that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Good to have you, bud.
Thank you.
We'll get time for one more, guys. We're running a little late here. Sorry about that. One more.
If no one wants to hop in, I've got a question.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Howdy. First,
you look like that dude that played Aquaman. Look at you,
bro. I get that a lot and totally flattered because I think he is sexy as. So thank you.
Boom.
Aquaman, I'll take it. So I noticed when our friend Emmanuel here shared his goal, the first thing he said was by when. Now I know like time specificity when setting goals is super important. So I've been on this like the last 3 years, this personal development, entrepreneurial journey, getting stuff done way better than ever before. But there's been a whole bunch of goals that I've set that I have not met the time thing. And now I feel weird by like setting a time amount on the goal because I've like not hit it so many times before. So like my most recent goal card, I haven't even included a time frame. Can you just say a couple sentences about that?
No, I can definitely help you with this. So none of that, a lot of people struggle with this because it's kind of a conflicting thing. So you guys should all get the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. It'll teach you about your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a cybernetic mechanism. It's like a GPS in a car. It needs direction, otherwise it doesn't know where to go. Oh, there you go, Valine. Right? So, but there's a little bit of conflict here because we're dealing with the subconscious mind, which causes your body to move into action. So the reason we have a time, you're guessing at best. When you guys have a goal, it's a guess at the time. But if you don't set a time, our friend Emmanuel might get to $1 billion, but he's 99 years old. The subconscious mind needs specific, clear direction. This much by when. Now, if you don't get to that goal by that time, it's just feedback that's telling you you need to change your plan, not your goal, but your plan. You need more leverage, more scale, more something. It's just the universe saying, hey, you were a little off. And there's also something called the universal law of gestation that we cannot really, you can manipulate it, but you can't control it. It's like the universal law of gravity. There's a bunch of universal laws that we've never been schooled in. And the universal law of gestation states that every single seed has a gestation period, right? A human baby is about 280 days from conception to birth. A carrot is about 80 days. I'm told it's about 80 days from planting, right? Well, a thought is a seed. A goal is actually a seed in your subconscious mind. That's not a metaphor. That's no different than a carrot seed. It's a mental seed in your subconscious. The downside of this is we don't know what the gestation period of your goal is. Mm-hmm. All we can do is what we can do, which is we can put the cause out. You can't control the effect. Now the cause is there's no negativity, no fear, no doubt, no worry, no lack. Oh man, I didn't hit my goal. I guess it wasn't meant to be. That's like turning the light switch off. Now you're going against physics. Right? What we want to do is super saturate our mind with what is the wish fulfilled? What is your goal?
The couple goals that I've got right now, I want to continue to lose weight, get down to 93 kilos. I've been on this like huge weight loss journey for the last few years.
Well, I can help you with that. This is what the subconscious mind's. What happens when you lose your wallet?
You go looking to find it again. So I'm gaining here. I'm gaining.
Right. So you don't even want to use the word lose. What you want to, I'm so happy and grateful now that I've released this unnecessary weight and I am a lean, mean, whatever weight fighting machine. But you see the power of the words? Listen, words are energy, like electricity. Both.
A while ago I changed, I have to do this to I get to do this. And that little word shift alone has been huge.
Yeah, but on your goal card, I'm so happy and grateful now that I've released unnecessary weight and I'm a lean, mean, whatever pounds.
You can take on my jump challenge. I'm going to start tomorrow.
What's that jump challenge?
You have to get to 60 high jumps like I did yesterday on live Facebook, which I think
I saw that. Yeah, she was high jumping for 60 seconds straight though.
65. I think
probably eventually connect with all of you on socials and suss you out. So stop everyone.
Yeah, you guys, the community, you guys can all definitely connect with each other. So does that help though? So we got to choose our words. Like both Hitler and Jesus used words to create.
Mm-hmm. So I feel you about the words and about the time thing, which has just became a bit of a weird thing for me because I set so many time goals that I did not meet. Change the strategy and plan moving towards it, as well as the time date. Like a gentleman said right here, you could want more money, but without being specific, you could find a couple bucks and boom.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, 100%. You want to get very specific for the subconscious mind and then surrender to the process. So, but here's the thing. I mean, you know how to release the weight. Everybody knows how, right? You drink water is the only, don't drink, any soda or anything like that. Or, you drink water, you eat healthy, exercise. It's three things. So you don't lack awareness, you lack discipline. Mm-hmm. That's okay. It's not a bad thing. Almost everybody lacks discipline. So then we got to focus on how do we get discipline? You got to get emotionally attached. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Like picture yourself as Aquaman. Like he's not getting that role if he's out of shape.
So I feel like I want to share as well. I've lost 38 kilos. I've gotten there. I've done, and there's some sort of like barrier wall sort of thing just at this point. And just as well, I don't want to keep you for ages. I know you already said you're short on time, but this is one of a few dozen, if not hundreds of goals. Like I've got my areas of life, both personal and professional. I set goals for all of them. I have my few that I focus on. Yeah. What do you think? You have your
two goals at a time, guys. No more than two at any one time. I usually one financial, one physical. Mm-hmm. It's too much for the mind to process. It's like getting, again, cybernetic mechanism. Imagine if you went into your car and you put in 6 different directions to 6 locations in your GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Or imagine if you got into a cab in New York and you told the driver 6 addresses. A confused mind does not create.
I feel it. So I'll have my top 2.
Just take 2. Guys, what is the one most impactful thing that if you had in your life in the next 12 months? That's what you want to go after. Usually it's financial, and you can do physical at the same time. But you know, don't become a realtor and open up a restaurant at the same time. That's not going to work, right? But a physical and a financial you can do too. But usually it's 1 or 2 at a time. You focus all your energy on that. What's going to cause the most dramatic impact in your life over the next 12 months, and that's the one you go for. Does that help?
Indeed. Thanks, heaps.
Everybody. Well, hey, guys, I appreciate all your time here tonight. I appreciate everybody that came. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did get value, tell the world, because that's what we're doing here, is we're going to get the world on this webinar. And make it a great week. Be well, and God bless. See you guys soon.
Cool stuff. Much love. Take care, ladies and gents.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.